Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today I want to talk about something that happened a week ago at the time of recording this video. Ellie, our daughter, had a little bit of a fall. She took a bit of a tumble and unfortunately as she fell over, she hit her head. She wasn't herself after she'd kind of finished crying. She was very, very quiet, and what was concerning really was how wobbly she was on her feet. At the start, right after it happened, she was walking, but she was kind of walking like sideways sort of thing, you know? So obviously that's not right. And the thing is, Ellie's been walking for about 5 months now. So she is, you know, very, very stable on her feet normally. But after this hit to the head, she was just not stable at all. And then it actually got to the point not long after she hit her head where she was not walking right at all. Like, you would put her down to get her to try and walk and she would just fall to the floor. So it actually got to the point where she actually wasn't walking at all. Also, something else that actually happened was her eyes were kind of flickering back and forth like this, like side to side. As if she was maybe dizzy or something. You know, the last thing you want is for your child to be hurt, especially with head injuries. You've got to be very, very careful when you have, when anyone, not just children, but anyone has a hit to the head. You've got to be very, very careful, and you've got to take it very, very seriously. So straight away, we got in contact with the emergency services, of course, as any parent would. And they basically, at first, arranged for us to basically be sent an ambulance. But unfortunately, the wait for the ambulance was up to 2.5 hours, if not longer. And so my husband, who was on the phone to the emergency services at the time, he basically asked them, well, is it going to be quicker and easier for us to take Ellie to our local hospital, to A&E? And after discussing it with her colleague, off of the phone for a while, she basically just came back on the phone to us and she said, yeah, that probably will be best. Just make sure that there are 2 adults with Ellie in the car. Obviously one is driving, my husband, because I can't drive. And just make sure that the other person who isn't driving is sat in the back seat with Ellie. And basically that person in the back, which was me, I had to kind of monitor her during the journey, because basically we were advised that if her condition was to get worse on the drive over to the hospital, we would have to pull over and just ring emergency services straight away, no messing about. We got to A&E perfectly fine. She didn't deteriorate on the way there, which is good. And yeah, I mean, it was really stressful. We got to A&E, we checked her in, gave the doctors and the nurses all the details that they needed. And then it was just a case of waiting around to be assessed by doctors and nurses. They did all sorts of tests and stuff on her, and they observed her for a period of 8 hours. At one point she was moved into the children's day ward, and we were advised to go and get some things for her just in case they wanted to keep her in overnight. The doctors and the nurses were debating giving her a head scan. And I mean, it's just stressful. There was just a lot going on. There was a lot of waiting around because obviously they wanted to observe her for a little while before they made any rash decisions. And it was just crazy. Fortunately, as time went on, Ellie's walking started to get better again. Her eyes weren't doing that weird thing anymore. And she was just a bit more talkative and back to her kind of normal, bubbly, wild self, shall we say, which is obviously a very, very good sign. And we were very relieved, of course. And then, long story short, after 8 hours of being assessed by several different doctors and nurses and debating whether to have a head scan and all of this sort of stuff, we finally got told that we were able to go home and just monitor her at home. So we went home. the next day we monitored her and she's been luckily fine since. The only thing that I have noticed since her being in hospital is that she has been even more clingier than normal, especially with me. But other than that, like, I'm just glad that she's totally fine. Obviously they decided against giving her a head scan because she was improving again. She was getting back to her normal self. So they decided not to do a head scan. And yeah, she's been fine ever since. But my God, that was scary. And it was actually on the day of our wedding anniversary as well that all of this happened. So it was crazy. I mean, like, what a first wedding anniversary, huh? You know? But anyway, that's the story. That's what happened. And yeah, just this past week, it's been incredibly difficult to find time to film just because of how incredibly clingy she's being. And she's actually not going down for a nap during the day really either. So yeah, it's been incredibly hard to kind of try and find some time to do some filming. Even now she's like running around my feet and just being wild and crazy. So I'm gonna end this video here. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new here, click on that subscribe button. Thank you so much once again, and I very much hope to see you in my next video. Bye everyone.